afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another exciting Propagandacast from your host, Imperial Dane, Master Propaganda Hero, like Defender of the Fatherland. Off here today, signing a 1 vs 1 on Kholodny Ferma. Between these, we got here Findeed, fighting for the Fatherland, Germany, Deutschland, taking on the role here of the 272nd Volksgrenadier Division, versus in the west, we got SteffenBK, fighting for King and Country, the Commonwealth, the 7th Armored Division, tasked with breaking through the Nazi-held lines. Findeed here with Osttruppen right away with machine gun, mortar and Panzerfaust bulletins versus SteffenBK's special weapons, mobile assault and vanguard with triple infantry here for SteffenBK. Section moving towards the centre victory point with Osttruppen moving towards the centre pioneers quickly securing the carve point with a bit of freshly laid barbed wire. Ja, so freshish barbed wire. It's steel, how can it be fresh? It's a metaphor, Otto, a metaphor. You know I hate saws. Yes, that's why I keep using them. Also from the occupying the centre house there. Shots fired between the section and the Osttruppen. As they quickly fall back, they're unable to resist the might of the Osttruppen there, at least from that side of the church. Also big thanks for James the Count for pledging on Patreon and supporting the war effort. Most appreciate, James. Your help allows me to keep doing this on a daily basis alongside every other incredibly handsome and charming Patreon supporter. Anyways, MD42, an actually aggressive position there from Findeed. Very aggressive position there with MD42, actually very risky, in fact, to an extent, but in this case works out nicely for Findeed and the Fatherland. Catching SteffenBK off guard is, you know, usually you don't see an MD42 that aggressive, but that is the case where it allows it to work so efficiently because no one expects the aggressive MD42. Its chief weapons are 1200 rounds per minute and not being expected. And of course, a fanatical devotion to the Fatherland. Universal they're pursuing the Osttruppen nest. MD42 pilots covering fire their lives to more safely fall back to a more defensive position. As it turns out, wooden crates that are empty aren't quite as good for cover. Findeed going here in the Osttruppen there. Pioneers falling back, might be some fast tech up there being planned for Findeed. In fact, that is what is, or should we even say Findeed, what is happening. Section opening out in the Osttruppen, let's try to go for the cuff on there. Findeed keeps up the aggressive tactics versus SteffenBK as he struggles to come to terms with Findeed's tactics. Munitions secured for the fun, meaning now Findeed controls both munitions points, which allow him for a lot more aggressive mining here. And he actually first goes for the infantry company, which does delay a light mechanized company, then again he might be planning a tier 3 rush, I suppose. But basically what this allows him is, of course, to Panzerfaust the universal carrier, and it likely equals SteffenBK might throw at him. There we go, section a bit too far, quick suppressed here by the MD42, and you can see there SteffenBK rapidly retreats in the face of such a reversal. But he is taking up there, could go for an armoured car, sappers, snipers are now very much options. We got a sapper team out there. So the question is, does he go for the Wasp upgrade here for the universal carrier? Does he go for mobile assault and flamethrower on the south to try and deal with the MD42 there, because those I think is more swifter options. He could try and, you know, stall for a mortar placement and set up for some longer term there, but that might not quite be fast enough here for SteffenBK pushing out the MD42, which is otherwise being quite a thorn in his side there. Universal carrier, they're pushing back the Osttruppen in the south there. We get a skirmishing out between the Osttruppen and the section. The section there is handily beating the Osttruppen. Already down to half size there. The Osttruppen will soon be forced to fall back. Osttruppen squad number 1 moving out there. What's it actually number 3? Probably 3. Findeed, they're just stalling, buying time there until they get up. They like to make a nice company. We got more pioneers on the way there. Imamir Pioneer, Flem there for Pioneer moving up. They're taking fire from the universal carrier, and he's going for the Vickers K, meaning he is not intending for flamethrowers. He's actually dealing with MD42 there, at least not anytime soon. Which of course means he's likely to then consider just ignoring and heading for the south, though he's not quite extending his forces down there either. So it's not entirely sure what Findeed is planning here, or SteffenBK is planning versus Findeed. That's sort of the interesting one. It's not entirely sure what his plans then are, except just ignore it, I guess. Just sort of try to catch it off guard and shoot it to bits. Being sure there what SteffenBK is planning. Shootout here, that should be the one for the section there. So it's got heavy cover versus light cover with the Osttruppen. In the centre we got the sappers pushing back the Osttruppen, getting a few more kills, down to half size. Like to make a nice company up there for Findeed. Section pushing from the south there for SteffenBK and the 7th Armoured, the Desert Rats. And before two rift positions again, though, it leaves the flank and particularly the house exposed. So Findeed here, of course, trying to place machine guns aggressively as possible, but he might find he just pushed it a bit too far this time around. In the centre here section, dealing with a lot of Osttruppen as they try to cut them down to size. That is not quite working out there. Going before two in a bad spot. Finally forcing Findeed to abandon this otherwise excellent fort machine gun nest against SteffenBK, leaving SteffenBK a bit safe around his fuel point there. And at the same time as all this happening, he's further reversing things against Findeed by hitting his fuel point. Section that needs to retreat as the Osttruppen are overwhelming here. Half-tech on the way that are likely going to be a flame for half-tech to counter all of Steffen's infantry. He's got a Vickers on the way, which means he's actually going to be invulnerable to the flame for a half-tech. They could, of course, try and push out for a fast armoured car. I mean, you kind of should expect it. I mean, a flame for half-tech is a typical counter, in particular if you've got Osttruppen out there. It is very common to see a flame for half-tech sort of followed up with at some point or the other, so we'll have to see though. I mean, it could be that SteffenBK has other plans, other ideas for stopping this motorized inferno, but we shall see. Flame for a heart of generally sort of organised into the headquarters units, I believe, of Panzergrenadier regiments, if I'm not mistaken, where they're basically sort of there attached and sort of be, well, then detached and attached wherever needed. That's sort of, in fact, where most sort of specialist units ended up. That was usually in the headquarters companies or battalion headquarters and so on. There's a little fun fact there in terms of German organisation. Almost got a section there. Pioneers there with a bunker up for Findeed. In the south there, SteffenBK sections are about to get scorched horribly here by the Flammpanzerwagen, but looks like he might just be able to get away there. Lewis runs, and he is happy he wore his asbestos underwear. Though 20 years down the road, he will regret it. Up north, Sappers pushing back the Osttruppen. There we go. It is the armoured car. He has to counter the flame for a half-tack. In the meanwhile, though, Findeed will rain with a fist of fire across the map here as SteffenBK struggles to sort of keep his men non-burnt. Next, we'll have to see what Findeed will do after this sort of initial success, at least once the armoured car hits and counters his flame for a half-take very hard. Seems like here Findeed though is not anticipating it so much because he's playing it very aggressive. I mean, there's no infantry about to sort of really support the flame for a half-take, so there's certainly potentially that things go slightly sour there for Findeed. Oh, actually, he seems to be realising he might just be in time for it now. SteffenBK have yet to choose a doctrine here. Yet to make a decision in that regard. Osttruppen in there. Sapper or Pioneers there with Osttruppen support pushing back the Sappers there, not securing the fuel. Slow advance into the centre. The south is also open there to Findeed's forces. MG42 to the triangle with incendiary armor piercing rounds. It's actually very low in health. There's a likelihood he can actually lose the MG42 if he's not careful. Pop smoke though. SteffenBK, well, obviously intent on destroying the machine, isn't that intent either. He actually wishes to risk it. Findeed following up with a Pack 40, the Panzerabwehrkanone 40 to support the men here of the 272nd Volksgrenadier Division. Pack 40 almost done. North Osttruppen pushing back the Sappers there. Armoured car rushing up north to contain things there, and we got bolts that section away for Steffen. Larger sections, which are going to be harder there for Findeed's forces to deal with. What Steffen otherwise would go for is a bit hard to see. He's still floating manpower. He's still got a doctrine to be chosen. He could, in theory, go for special weapons, or he could actually go for a mobile assault, and that way try and push a surprise on Findeed and the Germans. The Hun. There you go, 2 Osttruppen squads pushed away. Back here, medic bunker up. No further sign of take a bit there for Findeed. He could try and push ahead for some medium armour as schnell as possible. Telemark's being laid down here. Findeed preparing here for the armoured car trying to pursue his flame for a half-tack. Definitely some good foresight there, though in this case there might be a slight issue here. Either way, Telemarks are done. And yeah, in this case the problem is though he was setting up there anyway, so he doesn't have time to get away. I mean, he could still, hit the Telemark if he pursues aggressively, but the flame for a half-take is very much kaput. I was anticipating the mine, actually. Looks like he might have been, or he might have slightly spotted with something. Hard to say. He lost, though, the Vickers machine gun. Not entirely sure where, though. Yeah, he's expecting it. Or at least he's guessing it's there. It's really close there. Didn't quite manage it. Pushing for the fuel. They're pulling back in the armoured car again. He's reasonably sure there's one there, or he does know, but he just can't get it set off. So he's not going to push his luck. Still no doctrine there for SteffenBK. Findeed just continues his aggressive advances for Germany. Osttruppen moving forwards there to quickly secure the next line of defence against the Tommies. Morton placement up. That's going to put some pressure on Findeed, but quickly cancelled there as the Osttruppen threaten the position with their sheer numbers. And of course, fanatical devotion to the fatherland. Biggest machine gun away there for Steffen. Another one to replace the one lost there in service of king and country. In the south of the fuel points, almost secured there by SteffenBK and the 7th Armoured. Findeed could consider an officer to support troops, trying to give a bit more of the Osttruppen and the likes, but seems like Findeed doesn't particularly care about it. There we go. A vital component of any Osttruppen strategy though is going for Panzergrenadiers to sort of help pick up the slack versus the infantry, because long term your Osttruppen will run into trouble as your opponent upgrades his infantry in some way or the other, brings out better infantry. Lastly, Panzergrenadiers at some point will be an inevitable thing he really needs, so good move there by Findeed, good move. No sign of oh, he does have tech up there, just needs to build the Suprema core. And should actually be able to put your hit with a medium tank before SteffenBK there. His continued aggression and harassment of the fuel point in the centre has done him quite good. Vickers back in action, opening up the Pack 40 there. Armoured car heavily damaged, and there's a high likelihood here that SteffenBK actually loses even the smoke screen there. Oh! Lucky miss there for Steffen. Less lucky for Findeed. Morton placement almost done with this. Steffen's going to have a bit more control here around the centre of the map with some artillery there. That's going to make it much harder for Findeed to maintain any sort of positions around there. And so we're going to make it harder for Findeed to establish a defensive point. Since the Morton placement will be able to cover it if he tries to cover any sort of the vital points around this sort of map. That Morton play was going to be a big problem there for Findeed. He's going to need to clear it out at some point with extreme prejudice. In the meanwhile, Steffen there taking up. Findeed, you still need to build the Suprema core. And there you go, going about it. He could go for Stuke first, considering the situation. They could actually get away with going for a Panzer IV. Austrian, though, considering everything, in particular that he's playing against the Brits, though, is going to be less grand. But we'll see what it ends up with, though. Bomb grenade there on the track. Panzers though get to close in, but of course got the Morton placement, which changes the overall context of this engagement. But the Panzers likely would have won now. The presence of the mortar pretty much means there's a high likelihood he actually loses, because it just takes a few hits there from the mortars and the Panzer grenadiers are wiped. So right there, so also with the armoured car riding, Findeed just hits the retreat button, orders his men back to safety, and that I think is the right decision made by Findeed. The right decision. Getting very closer to the Panzer IV, the Panzerkampfwagen 4. North Ypern being secured. Osttruppen there covering up here for the 202nd. Fult's Grenadier Division. Few kills there. Armoured car pulling in 9 kills, 10 kills. Good lord, Jeremy, these chaps drop like flies. Well, that's probably because we're shooting at them with really big guns. Most people tend to drop like flies after that experience. Except the bloody Irish. Mortify there in the Osttruppen. In the church in the South Pioneers seem to be hanging about there doing something, but it's not entirely clear what. Pack 40 hanging back, and we got a 6-pounder going away there for SteffenBK to help us in the armour. He's probably anticipating that Findeed is going to be able to get out of tank first. Now it's definitely the correct assumption. Findeed is in fact just moments away from a Panzer IV. The Panzerkampfwagen 4. Osttruppen there taking heavy casualties from the mortar and sapper fire there. Findeed yet to go for the Panzer IV. Probably more preoccupied with frontline matters there than, you know, getting out his Panzerkampfwagen 4. Panzer is advancing, pushing back. The sappers back at base here. There's nothing further going on. Troops healing, reinforcing, but the panzers are still not appearing. North here, Panzers being engaged by section armoured cars, grabbing the northern point here. And there we go, Panzer 4 finally there for Findeed. In the centre, Osttruppen being gunned down by the Vickers machine gun, pushing them away, mortifying away there. Steffen there putting up increasing stiffening resistance here versus Findeed, though he is still struggling a bit. An idea there, of course, would still be to go for Doc to maybe get out some commanders. That would push harder against the Osttruppen, go for some Bren guns as soon as possible. But I do think he needs to try and up the ante here versus Findeed in some way or the other. But that's going to be a bit harder once the Panzer IV hits out, in which case he's probably going to want more anti-tank meshes to sort of keep it in check until he get out his own Cromwell. But the MG42 is taking some beatings there from the armoured car, the AC Mark III. There goes MG42 down to half size. There goes moving in though. He's almost got it, but yeah, Panzerfaust. And the Panzer IV there arrives for Findeed in Panzergrau, which technically was the incorrect colour tanks being painted in. There was only around 1942, I believe, they sort of done that. Or 1941, 1942. After that, it was Dunkelgelb until late 1944, in which case Dunkelgrün. Fun fact. Which actually means the Oberkommando S base colour is also wrong. Fun fact. Almost got the section there. Also another fun fact, despite the impression that even during the Blitzkrieg old tanks were sort of just full Panzergau, they actually had sort of basic camouflage in the old Panzergau, but also some brown there, sort of creating a sort of more early camouflage pattern there on the tanks. That's a little fun side note. Sappers pushing against Osttruppen, they're coming down there with their Sten machine gun or submachine gun. We've got Panzer flanking up behind, that's going to force the Sappers to retreat. Even with the rather of a section there with their Lee Enfield rifles. And there we go, Cromwell for Steffen and the 7th Armoured. Panzer 4 there with a Pintelmatt machine gun there mounted in the turret. Osttruppen into the section there, and Panzer 4 slowly moving about here. Findeed is not going to push his Panzer 4 too far ahead. Good. As that is shown in one way of just losing advantage. This, you just get overconfident with your Panzer 4, then get disabled and destroyed. I've only seen quite a few cases where someone does that with their rushed out tank. But there you go. Section pushed back in the south here by the machine gun. Cromwell almost on there. Panzer 4 taking still hits from the 6-pounder gun. Doing quite a bit of damage. Osttruppen being pushed back here by a section as well. House collapsed. And now pushing for that mortar emplacement. Findeed is gonna silence it. Hopefully. Double thumb there for Pioneer. But with the brace down there, gonna have a hard time doing anything to it. Though for the time being, you can then sort of fight more safely around it. But at some point, there we go. Steffen's going to be able to assemble enough forces to push back Findeed from here, and the Cromwell's certainly going to be the primary point for them. Particularly since most of Findeed's pioneers are at the front line there, trying to destroy the mortar plating. There's no one repairing the Panzer 4. He just lost the pioneers, which is going to be harder for Findeed to fix it up. That was quite awkward there for Findeed, perhaps a bit of a tactical error, which SteffenBK was able to quickly exploit and punish Findeed with. Findeed following up with a Stuka to help counter the British armour. Findeed most likely anticipating where there's one Cromwell, there's soon going to be another one, and that tends to be a very much correct assumption. So bringing up something that can help deal with a larger numbers of British tank, plus of course just be really good support for the Panzer 4. Is generally a good idea.
Enemy threatening a capture point.
And we can see that Findeed, or Steffen, not Findeed, Steffen is bringing up there the Bren light machine guns to support his troops. Like 40 setting up there, got the Cromwell tank, section pushing it, the Stug almost done. And note they have been double Bren, which makes them very lethal. Panzer IV not fixed up. I'm trying to get the Pack 40 out. The problem is the Cromwell and the section is pursued. And he can't run his Panzer IV because there's an armoured car and a 6-pounder gun supporting the Cromwell. So Findeed he is basically forced to play it rather defensively. But he does, against all odds, get away there. And he's actually now pushing out his Panzer IV. Findeed might be feeling rather confident with the Stu. But there's still the armoured car and there's still the 6-pounder gun. We'd like to try here with the target trait though. Missing the opportunities for it. In this case, looks like the Panzer IV gets to escape, live another day. Oh no! Got the main gun, now the AC is going to have a free reign against it. Shot bounce to shot bounce, 2 almost dead as well. Down to half health, Panzer IV in the armoured car. He's almost got the Panzer IV. Might he just be able to get away with it? Cromwell with the damaged engine. Oh dear, lost a section. Bren guns dropped. Cromwell about to go down. And the Stug and the AC goes down, but the Panzer IV survives and loses the Cromwell. Oh dear, that was a really bad engagement there for SteffenBK. He lost a lot there. Section and the Cromwell and the AC only getting a Stug in return. That is a not very good engagement there for Steffen. He's going to have to work pretty hard to turn that around here against Findeed. And he lost a lot there. And with the Panzer IV still alive and plenty veteran, though, that's going to be still a Panzer IV that can eventually do at some point. More pioneers there for Findeed. He'll likely go for another Stug.
A new infantry section is ready for battle.
Replacement section that there for Steffen, quickly burning it up and equipping another one with the fallen Bren gun.
Our capture point. They're trying to take it.
Section moving ahead there, Vickers crewing about up north. And Osttruppen there opening up in the section. Steffen hitting the southern points. We're going to threaten Findeed's fuel again. The Findeed is also about to threaten Steffen's fuel. So they're basically both threatening each other's fuel. Mortifier there from the mortar emplacement, which Findeed was unable to permanently silence, merely to mute it for a few seconds. Sappers here suffering brutally to the Panzers. They're actually being fed a lot of experience from it. In fact, gaining veteranly 3. That's going to be a big problem there for Steffen's infantry. Veteranly 3 Panzer Grenadiers are quite capable troops, and they're also quite capable on the right side of themselves, just wiping a unit in a matter of seconds if the opponent isn't careful. Back here, after further going for Findeed. SteffenBK going for another Crom. Might be that Findeed is aiming for another Panzer IV here. He's planning, I suppose, to go for Tier 4 all of a sudden. Taking a bit of damage here. Section pushing back the Osttruppen up north. Cromwell slowly approaching, being ready. And Findeed can call in a second Panzer IV, and he immediately does so. Without moments of hesitation, Findeed knows in his heart that he wants another Panzer IV.
A tactical airfall. A capture point is being overrun.
Panzer IV moving back in. Steffen's Cromwell is almost, and he's also gone for Vanguard here. He could then set up for the advanced sort of forward logistics slider with the officer, which will not be a half-bet choice there for Steffen, which of course will open up for more commandos. Artillery thereby raining down on the mortar and plate, and he wants that thing silenced permanently. Oh, Sapper's wiped! Alright chaps, we're not too close there to the mortar emplacement. We are... oh no. And down it goes. The Sapper section, the mortar emplacement. Another crucial blow there to SteffenBK and the 7th Armored Division. Okay, 40 Panzer IV, they are marching the Cromwell straight to the front of it. Pretty ambitious there by SteffenBK, but he's going for the Panzer IV there. Got the Pack 40 actually. Panzer IV marches blitzing away. Missed though. Got a hit there on the Cromwell stem. We can see there. Steffen pulls back. The Pack 40, there's actually something he could secure here or destroy. It looks like he's just going to overlook it, allowing in this case Findeed to get it back though. Pulling back the Cromwells as fast as possible. Back here, reinforcement here going on, and we got more sappers on the way there for SteffenBK to replace the ones that were so tragically lost. Meanwhile, Findeed sets about ensuring that the Panzer IV is properly maintained and repaired. Findeed following up with the second Panzer Grenadier escort while he's hitting the northern points again, and the Panzer IV moves towards the centre. SteffenBK remains in a not encouraging position. Still on the defensive here versus Findeed. Good hit on the Panzer IV with the 6-pounder gun. Second good hit there, taking it down to half health. So what will Findeed try to aim for next? Just more Panzer IVs. Panzer IVs at infinitum. Stuks, Ostwinds, tag up for Sturmpanzers, Panthers, Panzerwerfers. What is Findeed's long-term plan here for crashing SteffenBK like a bug? As for Steffen, I imagine his is just trying to survive long enough and get out another Cromwell. So he's not quite thinking his long term because he's under so much pressure from Findeed, who's using his MD42 again pretty aggressively, eventually free. Incendium put onto the section, its cover sawed apart by the buzzsaw, as the MD42 was known amongst other names. It had a lot of nicknames, by the way, like Hitler's buzzsaw, Hitler's violin, the canvas ripper. Panzer IV setting out. Cromwell support here. Pioneers charging straight out the section with its double Ren guns. Rather ambitious move there by Findeed, and the results are rather one-sided, as to be anticipated. Trying up for the south here. Penetrating hit on the Cromwell by the Panzer IV. In the centre there, Findeed slowly advancing, threatening near Steffen's rather tenuous position. There you go. Infantry force there sneaks sort of slightly further, harass and pressure SteffenBK, forcing him to have to worry about more approaches there from Findeed. So that's some nice moves there. Some nice moves so far, anyways. White machine gun crew there with a nicely thrown bun grenade there by the Panzer Grenadier. SteffenBK's position there is incredibly tenuous. There you go. Osttruppen securing the machine gun here away from Steffen. Panzer IV moving hit, 6-pounder gun also cleared out. The Panzer Grenadiers are turning out to be quite good at the whole, you know, clearing a path for tanks. Very good at it. So there you go. Panzer IV taking a few hits, 6-pounder gun number 2 there opening up at it. Down to half health. Almost got the Osttruppen machine gun there, but sadly not quite. As for SteffenBK, is going to just go for another Comets. Going to try and play for the Crocodile. What's his plan actually for logistics glad now? So many possibilities here for SteffenBK as Findeed just keeps pressuring him. 6-pounder gun there destroyed. Another hit there from the 6-pounder gun. And he goes for centre. An interesting decision considering his opponent has a large arm advantage. He's only got one Cromwell, a 6-pounder gun, and some Piets. His decision to go for centre. Oh, there we go. He cancels it. Might have been a misclick there from Steffen. Goes for a replacement Vickers. He obviously has to say a bit more there before he can go for the Cromwell tank, with which to take on Findeed again. I think SteffenBK is going to have to accept the centre's loss for a bit, then try to outmaneuver Findeed. You know, look for some weaker targets, hit them very hard, try and catch him off guard. So there seems like Steffen is committing to another frontal assault versus Findeed's positions. Cornering ahead there. And there you go, third Panzer IV for Findeed, just lots and lots of Panzer IVs. Steffen can now go for Cromwell. Of course, he might be thinking of Firefly instead. Of course, he might be thinking the Crocodile. Hard to say that what Steffen's plan is. Problem is, of course, with an increasingly large number of Panzer force here, no real solid armoured force there for Findeed, SteffenBK's Cromwell, and for that matter his infantry is going to be in a rather tricky position, so trying to stall here for a Crocodile might be considered awfully risky. But there you go, ends up going for another Cromwell tank, so that way take on those damn dirty Huns. Norfolk's there, machine gun, Osttruppen is with the Vickers, and of course the Panzer all moving ahead. Cutting around the north here as SteffenBK is giving the centre a lot of attention, and a bit of sort of attention in the south as well. As he tries to push in there, trying to outmaneuver Findeed, though without armour support, it has a hard time projecting anything. Findeed on the other hand showing this armour support for his northern harassment. Just a single Panzer IV, but even that, you know, can be sufficient there to deter and buy time for the machine gun and any other infantry to get around. Penetrating hit there from the Panzer IV on the Cromwell. Cromwell on the other hand failed to penetrate the Panzer IV's armour. Second Cromwell there rhyming there for SteffenBK, bringing his total number of Cromwells up to 2. Versus Findeed's 3 Panzer IVs. More shooting there, fixing up the Cromwell. In the south there, section Mrs. Osttruppen as they push in, MB4 to move further south there. There you go, dispatched with well placed Bren gun rounds, 36 kills there. Findeed seems to be building up there for an assault. He's got the Panzer IVs waiting ready here in the centre, plus the one in the north. Trying to push out the Pioneers, and looks like he's beginning it. He's got no smoke screens down there, so it's harder here for him to protect himself as the tank guns from afar. Our elements. There you go, Panzer IV gaining eventually 2, but also down to half health. Also down to half health. And there you go, sending the Cromwells northwards. Looks like it's going to try and hit the Panzer IV. They're isolated from the rest of them. That's definitely a good decision. Then again, there's Panzer Grenadiers. They're waiting with their Panzerschrecks, Panzerjägers. But there you go, still happening. He's moving into the lane to find the Piats. There you go. Almost scouted, but the Panzerjägers there. Oh, if you can just push out them, I suppose, with the Cromwells, they might not matter. He's committing to it. And there you go, force the Panzer Grenadiers to retreat. The Panzerjägers are gone. And he gets the Panzer IV as well there. A good engagement there for Steffen, though he's still losing infantry in the south to the Panzer Grenadiers. They're actually 3, and they secure themselves a Bren gun. Quite a loss there for Steffen. Quick replacing the loss there, which is good. Meanwhile, he might want to consider another sapper section just to speed up repairs of his Cromwells. The remaining there that needs it badly. And there's also his most veteran tank crew. Quick shot there, bounced off the Panzer IV's armour. Osttruppen versus section, a lot of Bren guns. Gets the pack there. SteffenBK sitting in there pretty hard versus Findeed through the centre, but there he goes. Vickers setting up, he's got no way of silencing it. Trying to destroy the 6-pounder gun. There we go. Got the Panzerjägers ready to pop that Cromwell in each section. Also needs to be pushed back. Need to get out of there. And this veteran Cromwell is now good to go, but now the other Cromwell needs repairs. He can in fact now go for a third Cromwell. He could also consider aiming for a Firefly. We'll have to see what SteffenBK though ends up with. There's also the potential he's now trying to set up for a Crocodile, feeling he's now got some kind of equilibrium in terms of armour. Though his opponent still has a larger force, but of course he can sort of stall onto the Cromwell. He might really be able to turn the game around versus Findeed. As for Findeed, he could just go for another Panzer IV. He could also try and take up. Oh, he actually is planning a further take there. He's aiming for tier 4. Might even be anticipating Crocodile. Oh, nope, Findeed's not going for the Crocodile. He's going for the Centaur again. He's going for the Centaur again. There we go. Osttruppen pushed back from the northern victory point. The defence shattered by the arrival of British tankers. And here we got the heavy panzer corps going up for Findeed and the German army. The 272nd Volksgrenadier Division is receiving plenty of armour support there, clearly. The division itself, in terms of any kind of thing resembling armour, only had about 13 Hetzers in its Panzerjäger Company. No fun fact there. More sappers to aid with the repairs. Probably also for more Piats on, possibly. So 3 Cromwells versus 2 Panther Force. Of course, a Panther here would certainly make things a bit harder for the Cromwells, but that's also going to come down to how Steffen then handles his Cromwells. Oh, Telemine, Name's anticipating that SteffenBK will try and break through by the fence, and he laid down Telemines there. Sneaky. I like that. Pioneers to court laying down Telemines wiped out. We got air support called in here. Seems a bit excessive. I guess he's trying to prevent the tanks from joining in the fight, though. Oh, he wiped machine gun as well there. Those are some nasty losses there for Findeed. Lost the machine gun crew. Got pushed away. Losing chunks of the map there as well. On the other hand, he still managed to damage that Cromwell pretty heavily with that telemine. And there you go. Panther on the way for Findeed and the 272nd. Volksgrenadier Division up north, section their ground points. Osttruppen then securing the victory upon the north, even as he's doing the one in the south. But he could try and grab that MD-42 and turn it versus Findeed. Thinking about the Cromwell there. Findeed's been really active with the telemine, so that's good. That's really good. That makes it harder for SteffenBK to enjoy the full mobility of his tanks. Almost ready there with the Panther. Cromwelling in there. Gonna go for that Panzer IV. Got Panzerjägers nearby though to provide and support there for the Panzerkampfwagen. The Panther's almost done as well. Gets the Panzer IV though, leaving Findeed shot one more Panzer. With SteffenBK there enjoying now numerical superiority, though of course qualitatively. Findeed's got the Vetsy 2 Panzer IV and now the Panther. And he's quickly adding a Pindelmark machine gun there to the Panzerkampfwagen 5. Samples need to get fixed in that. Moving into current to the south. Steffen's actually now really turning the game around here versus Findeed. But there you go. Another telemine. Another telemine there. Leaving another Cromwell in a pretty bad spot there for SteffenBK and the 7th Armoured. Panther moving down there. Pindelmark machine gun going up. There we go. Catches the Cromwell in a pretty bad spot there. And Panther 4 finishes off there now. Things are more equal numbers wise. Plus that was his veteran Cromwell, so that's really now the advantage there for Findeed. He's going to probably need, try to swarm it with Cromwells. Need to bring up some Fireflies. He also needs to position his anti-tank and a bit better to deal with it. Another telemine! Another telemine! Those telemines are proving to be worth their weight in gold here for Findeed. That's 2 Cromwells would have pretty much been guaranteed destroyed here. Thanks to the telemines. Had not been for those telemines there, SteffenBK would not have lost those 2 Cromwells. On the other hand, SteffenBK really should have been going for some minesweepers after that first Cromwell hit a telemine there. That's usually the sign your opponent is putting some effort into his mines. Section wiped as well. This is quickly turning ugly there for SteffenBK. He was ascendant. He was looking good. And then suddenly, like, a hidden threat jumped up and just ruined Steffen's day there, but just damaging so many of his tanks so heavily. I mean, those telemines have been a huge investment there for Findeed. Huge investment. And certainly shows that they are a, well, really good investment. Particularly if your opponent doesn't bother with minesweepers. And SteffenBK, by the way, is still not going for them. Maybe we should go for some of those minesweepers. What do you say? Nah, it's not like the Huns are systematically mining every road and approach. We just, casually just happened to run into 3 mines in a row covering vital tactical roads. It's just a coincidence. Ooh, failed to grab that MG42. Sloppy, Stefan. But there you go, Panther receiving repairs. Panther receiving repairs. Most needed repairs.
Our capture point. They're trying to take it.
Fun fact about the Panther early models, I believe, used aircraft engines, and it turns out they had a slight issue. If the Panther tilted at a certain angle, the engine would burst into flames. So they rather had to avoid that with the early models of Panthers. One of the more, well, in a sense, funny design flaws. So of course, there's nothing funny about being in a tank and all of a sudden it catches on fire. That's generally one of the things you don't want to happen while you're in a tank. That's it, to catch on fire. In particular in a Russian tank, and particularly with T-34 though, because the hatches had a tendency of jamming on those. Granted, it wasn't too fun in the Panther either. You had the turret hatch closed because that one took several minutes to open up. Granted, most German tankers though generally always throw around with the hatch open so you have good situational awareness. That was not the case with Soviet tankers, by the way, who were instructed to keep the hatch closed. Little fun fact there. Osttruppen there suppressed by the Vickers machine gun, 6-pounder gun, Cromwell there. I think SteffenBK is not aiming for the Firefly here, as that's probably his best choice dealing with the Panther as such. Findeed here is playing his Panther very carefully. He could be supporting here the Panther because we could try and support, push up north, maybe try and flank the Cromwell from an unexpected angle. Mine goes off there, so Stefan has also been mining good, though Findeed has mine sweepers out already. They're just not close to where the fighting is happening, where the mines are. Panther 4 hiding down here, or perhaps just enjoying some shade. Findeed's response to some of these developments in the form of the civil anti-tankers is to get a Panzerwerfer out, to blow some into bits, tiny bits, little bits. Falling slightly back there. SteffenBK, I'm thinking he's a bit unsure what's coming there, so he wants to build a bit of distance in case he gets attacked from the north. And Findeed is just laying down more teller mines. Again, he's just sort of thinking, you know, I want to be ready. He's thinking Comets. Stefan is thinking Comets. A bit late for that, though. Not necessarily a bad idea, but it's certainly feeling a bit late here. And there you go, Panzerwerfer rolls ahead. Getting ready to unleash hell there against the Tommies. Quick bomb grenade there, and kaboom, almost wiped the section. And there you go, getting ready to unleash hell there with 10 tubes of doom. Saturating the area, anticipating Stefan there to have some tank guns there, then doesn't really push. Granted, it's better to have a mortar to lean on a smoke screen here to push cover the advance. They just have the officer calling the smoke screen. That is also an option. There you go, finally moving in there. Panzer gun is still not there to help support the tanks there to clear out any anti-tank guns rapidly. Bit unfortunate there for Findeed. Server's getting blasted there. There you go, bomb grenade pushing back the section up north. Panther shoots, misses, 6-pounder gun standing about there. And Findeed going for a pack 40. Cromwells with pursuit only to get surprised there by the Panzerjägers. A quick series of Panzer attacks there leaves the Cromwell quite dinged up. Stefan can now go for the Comet.
100 points left.
They need to be fast about it. He's beginning to bleed out victory points. Granted, he's also brought Findeed quite low himself, so. And there you go. Comet on the way there for SteffenBK. Panther just hanging back there. He's being awfully cautious with it, and certainly good not to be reckless with it, but just doing nothing with it either. He's not particularly good use of it either, I feel. Because you're going to try to use this to support the northern push there. Panzer moving back in. Trying to catch the anti-tank guns again, I imagine.
75 points remaining.
Direct hit on the machine gun. Almost wipes the entire crew. Actually, once he knows where it is, he could try and move the Panther forward. Blitzing through here. Getting behind the anti-tank as the Panther draws fire. And acting into diversion. Then using the Panther forward to clear them out. Comet almost done there for Steffen. He's down to 61 points though. He doesn't have a single one left. Feels like he might be opening too much in the centre. And there you go, Comet up for Steffen, but he's down to 50 points. Can the Comet do what Steffen wanted to do here versus Findeed, or will it be a failure? Troops are getting blasted by loads of machine guns.
Damned enemies trying to take a point from us.
Coming in there, Panther almost done, almost done. 31 points ground. The normal needs to tend to, but he's running into a lot of German infantry, which is just blocking from ground the point here. And he's trying to bait him into a telemine, and Panther 4 goes down, Panther 4 goes down. Comet barely avoids the mine, but runs straight to the Panzerjägers, crushes Ludwig, destroys him, but takes several rockets into the rear, grenade off. Trying to stop machine gun line units to push for the centre victory point. We got Panzer Osttruppen moving in from the north, here, clearing out the anti-tank gun there. 13 points left. Comet about to go down. 10 points left. And GG from Steffen. GG. Game over. Lost there for King and Country. The 7th Arm has been repulsed here by the 272nd Volksgrenadier Division. A nasty battle of wills here between Steffen and Findeed. In the end, I think the overall big issue for Steffen there was, well, I think largely just didn't bother with minesweepers, despite, you know, increasingly getting silenced that Findeed was laying down a lot of mines. And he wanted to go for the Comet. I think you should have gone for that one instead of the third Cromwell. I think you should just try and push for the Comet there instead of that third Cromwell. I think that would have done SteffenBK a lot more. And I think he also should have done with something with the Stockton beside a bit of air support. I think some commandos in there, or even raid operations could have done a lot good there for Steffen. So it rather felt like his Stockton uses was a bit weak there. Findeed, I think, also he focused too much in the centre again. There could have been more flanking attempts for Findeed. As for the Findeed, I think Yoel did pretty well there. So he used his Stockton well, used his units well. Could have had some officers out or trenches out. Even used some fuel drops. Good use of his armour. And the Panther certainly was a nice surprise. They're so rarely seen. Though certainly also highlights a bit. Just, you know, when you do get it, you end up not using it very well because it just, you know, works a bit fitfully. So you're sort of not quite willing to commit all those resources. The men of the might, you know, end up getting it destroyed without doing too much damage. But there you go. Hope you enjoyed this match. Hope you learned something from it. If you did, one, subscribe, tell a friend, share it with everyone. If not, send in a replay of your own, provide some feedback in the comment section. And if you like what I do consider donating or pledging on Patreon. This is Imperial Dancing. Cheers. Thank you for watching. Hope to see you all tomorrow for another signing episode. Bye.